Oh, checking.
Bunny short, bunny short.
A bunny shot.
Is there fear for you around fame and being seen?
Ooh. I think there has been. Um, and I want to put it in the sense of it's leaving, it's going into the past. I don't want to claim it anymore. Um, has there been fear around being seen? You know what I think it is? I feel like I feel like I'm going to throw shade. I feel like
Yeah.
there's a class, even a generation of Nairobi celebrities that I grew into contact with very early on in my career, like in my public career, in my career of like making work and sharing work. Um, and I feel like a lot of the fear that I felt around being seen in the public eye was inherited from them, was picked up from them. I don't know that folks have had a lot of, even the part of it, I think, is like we haven't really been taught the idea that you can be an artist, that you can be a creator and a creator in public. So there's like no training on how to conduct yourself as a being of the public, how to protect your being a private. And I think a lot of people have stumbled into very painful situations, very uncomfortable situations, even like bodily dangerous situations as a result of their exposure to the public and not knowing how to navigate that. So I think I got that very early on, and I definitely wanted to have done the work to make sure that I felt safe in myself first and foremost. And I think that once we do feel safe in ourselves and in the communities that we cultivate around us, we are safe. We will genuinely be safe when we are when our heart feels safe, so to speak.
I believe so, but you say in Kenyanness, there isn't a script yet on how to do showbiz,
Yeah.
paraphrasing.
Yeah.
And I want to insist there isn't one yet that has worked anywhere else. But a whole lot of swindlers and people who finesse artists and the creators and the talent, But I also feel we're in the right space in that way, in the initial parts of creating that. And for sure, one of the ways is to show up in the whole community. It's not a space to show up negotiating alone.
By yourself, yes. Especially as you're pointing out, when like so much of the exploitation of artists has been premised on, oh, we're making this with you alone. Like you don't have time to think through it, you don't have time to consult, you don't have
the legal background to understand who is eating your pot.
Right. And how that pot is going to come to you, if at all.
Yeah.
I agree. I like that framing that perhaps there isn't a script that has worked anywhere.
There's a whole lot of scam centered thoughts. What has existed as a contract for the artist is something we need to scrap off entirely. Entirely and start negotiating from a space whereby this is a person, a talent and an education that starts from childhood. I've been working since I was a child.
That's true.
So even your removal of my minimum wages is very is very ignorant of what building a creative mind is.
What building a creative life is. Yeah. And then considering that we want to create lives want to create lives for ourselves that we want to live and that we want to keep living for a long time. Allowing us to create for as long as we're able to, as long as the muse is speaking to us, for as long as the inspiration is flowing, as long as we can connect to the flow. We want to have structures and like space to be the people that we need to be to make the work that we need to make. I definitely agree with rethinking contractual relations, rethinking labor relations. There's a lot that when you were saying that there isn't a model that has worked worldwide, I just thought, capitalism, baby. And this is a thing that I've been saying, a realization that I've come to, which is that as artists in Kubumo under capitalism, for many reasons, but especially because the metrics of capitalism cannot fathom the extent of our work. They cannot fathom the purpose of our work. Like, I feel like my client is God. When I'm making work, my client is God and the higher selves of the people who are going to operate, like who are going to interact with my work.
Yeah.
Like, I do not serve a market. I do not serve any manager or any establishment. No, like wherever I am and wherever I am sharing my work, it is to reach the people that it is to reach. It is their souls that are my client.
Yeah.
Capitalism can't fathom spirit. Capitalism cannot fathom the soul. There's no way for it to quantify it. There's no way for it to attach a price value to it. And so I think it disregards the soul. If we're only measuring our work as artists by the models and the metrics of capitalism, then we're doing ourselves a really big disservice because we're not recognizing the value of the work that we're doing. We're using systems that cannot tell us the value of the work that we're doing. I think in that way, capitalism will always undervalue artists. It will always play fast and loose with our value because it cannot comprehend that a soul needs to be fed.
What is your alternative? I'm not asking for the entire agreement and telling what negotiating artists in art would look like. But what are things that you think should be centered to be able to capture that labor, that godliness, that feeding, and in fairness? Yeah.
Thank you for asking that question. And I have a couple of answers on a couple of levels. One is a poem that I'd like to read, and I think maybe we'll start there.
Okay.
But then I also want to share like a few of the, at least one thing that I do when I'm trying to price my work or trying to exchange for my work, trying to recognize that value that goes beyond money. But let's start with the poem. This is a poem that I often come to when we are having conversations like these that are like, so now what are we supposed to do? Like, shit is broken. Shit is broken. Shit is broken. Shit is really fucking broken. And it's broken in ways that hurt us. It's broken in ways that hurt all of us. But I think those of us who are sensitive, more so. Those of us who are marginalized, more so. So what do we do now? What do we do? And if the poem can agree to be found, it has been found. Okay. The poem is called, the title of the poem is, So Now, What Do You Want Them to Do? In the title, them is in brackets, is in quotation mark, because I wish to draw attention to that them. Who is this them? So now what do you want them to do? Sometimes that them is me, and I like to have that them there because I use they them pronouns. Please don't refer to me by anything other than they them pronouns. Thank you so much. So sometimes the them is me, sometimes the them is the country, is the people of the country. Sometimes the them is us in this conversation here. And this poem came through from the Miguyu, from the Baobabs, from some of the Baobab guides. And they have ideas. They have such great ideas. Oh, they're so wise, and they've agreed to share some of that wisdom with us in this form. So now, what do you want them to do? One, take it apart, piece by piece. 2, use each, rest each piece first. Let it sit, let it cool, look at it, see it for it. What do you see? What does it need? What does it love? Give it what it needs. Love, care, affection, attention. And 3, use each piece of the old thing to build the new thing. Now, drenched in love, make it real, coming to life here, here it is, a new wow.
Thank you so much. No, I feel I have understood every part of what to do with an artist contract from what you have said. But you said you also had another answer, which I'm sure would be magnifying the care and the love we're supposed to put into it.
Yes.
So
Actually, now that I think about it, yes, it does.
Yeah.
So one thing that I like to do is when I'm exchanging my work or trying to exchange my work, I want to make it clear that this is an energy exchange. This is like I'm giving you a part of my fucking soul, baby, and you're going to do something with your soul, with this piece of my soul. So I invite people to share money, yes, but also to share a token. And a token for me is a gift of any kind, genuinely. Like it can be a piece of jewelry, it can be a piece of your own work, it can be extra shillings, but I don't really want it to be. I want it to be something that comes with a sense of value from you. I want us to give each other a gift. With my work, I'm giving you a gift. I'd like you to give me a gift in response as well. So I call it shillings end. Giving money end. And I think that we should really take it up. Take it like where we can. Like let the exchange that we're being sour. Give us money, yes, but also something else. Yes, money and something else.
Yeah, maybe you won't feel cheated. You present, and I enjoy you as a very hopeful energy. What does that mean when you're faced by betrayal? How do you swim through that?
I'm so curious that you name betrayal.
Because hope is killed by that. So how you've managed to maintain that much? I think it's a more Kenyan.
I'm more Kenyan to share.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm also very intrigued that you mentioned betrayal in an explicitly queer space.
Yeah.
Because we'll admittedly there's nowhere that I find betrayal like in the queer community.
Yeah.
We're really setting things on fire today. Let's go. Let me tell you people. Organizations, NGOs, queer rights establishments have for me been the biggest source of heartbreak in the queer community. And it's not even shit that I've experienced directly myself. It's when I've been holding space for queer people and we desperately need space. We desperately need space to be with ourselves, to have the conversations amongst ourselves that will of course lead to our political and social emancipation, our liberation. We were just talking a few minutes ago with the goddess in the bathroom about how I feel like so many narratives are crafted for and about us. We so rarely get to start off on our own footing. So rarely get to explain the arc of our own narrative, not just to other people, but including to ourselves. So many narratives are projected onto us that we often find ourselves just accepting, just taking. Especially because we don't have an alternative, especially because we haven't yet generated an alternative. And we do need to generate that alternative ourselves. Where will that come from? It will come from spending time with each other, caring for each other, loving each other, sharing each other's art, basking in our radiance together. That will give us a sense of who we are, a sense of what we want, and a sense of where we want to go. That's so important. That is so important. And I'm grateful to the queer artists who exist right now and exist on the scene, who are making work and holding space, because it is in these spaces that we will find the liberation, the freedom, the possibility to even articulate ourselves and articulate what we want. It is in these spaces. So I'm grateful for that. And in a way, I'm also grateful to have held space like that, but it has also been so heartbreaking so heartbreaking hearing stories of sexual abuse, of mismanagement of funds, of disenfranchising our already the most vulnerable members of our community, exposing them to the public, exposing them to the police, exposing them to the violence that we should be protecting ourselves from, that community should be protecting us from. So there has been heartbreak. There has been a lot of heartbreak hearing the failings, the disastrous failings of the institutions who have claimed to protect us, but who are only using us to further the obscene aims of capitalism. So there has been heartbreak. But I really think I find hope in the people that I know and that I love. I really think I find hope in love, and in love circulating, and in the care networks that I see growing, and I find myself part of. It's my friends, it's my homies, it's those who have the eyes to see me, in whom I find hope, and with whom I find hope, and with whom I would love to share the hope that I find. It's also in the trees, and the flowers, and the bees, and the earth. It's in the way that the earth loves us. It's in the way that the earth recognizes us. It's in the way that our land knows us and loves us and is willing to care and provide for us, calls us her children. It's only the people who are refusing to acknowledge us as children. The land knows. The land remembers.
It follows you.
The land follows us. The land calls us home. Like, that the earth cares for us and supports us is everything that human beings have ever needed, and we have it. We are trans-Africans, we have it. The land remembers who we have always been and what work we have done with her. The land remembers how we are channels of healing and how we are the bearers of love. And the land loves love. And the land and the people of the land love love. So they love us.
There's something I have to say. And it's a heart.
Lazima.
The NGO system is one of the most beautiful ones of my existence, and something I've intentionally interacted with. And I would not in any way assume that unintentionally I must have also committed a lot of errors. But I do know of the intent, and sometimes based on not having a care harm that it has caused to our community. I have negotiated myself and built myself to others, and in there has been very painful things that have put me to the ground. I need you to know that I hear you. I feel for all the people who confide with you. And thank you for raising it. And as you have said, my way out of it was still that queer platonic love. In a way it took, and then because also I don't know why it can be, it's not an institution only, it's queer persons in it, it's queer thoughts and dreams in it that are like working the opposites of our direction, in how human we are and how already fighting a lot of demons we are. But there's truths are found along the way. One is that it was created to do exactly what it's doing.
That's my thing.
And that is some heartbreaking,
right?
But truthful things. That means it also attracts the people who can do that thing. I hope for your generation of queers that it's less painful. I won't assume even the work you're going to do will change individual interactions with it. And you know when to step out of it.
Amen.
Especially that.
Yeah. For me, what it is care. I think like at the heart of liberation. And I think this is where it's queer platonic love that has changed our lives and has healed us when we've been broken by like the institutional vagaries of. Because that's the thing, man. Like the NGOs are working how NGOs are supposed to work. It's just that there's a huge deficit of care. The model
shouldn't be care. If the model is if the North Star is capitalism, then the South is care.
Exactly.
It's not gonna. It's not gonna.
There's no way to like necessarily
backwards, then there's a productive result on this side.
It's going to have to lose form. It's going to have to lose shape.
Deeply and intentionally having every conversation like can't be the way I was told it's supposed to be.
Yes. How do we need it to be? How do we want
and a lot of dreaming.
Yes. A lot of dreaming.
I wanted to ask you lighter things.
Oh yes.
But we won't force them if they don't fit. Your mother.
Oh, lighter.
I didn't say I'm not a liar. Hey, you guys, who the hell told you I'm not an NGO? Lighter things. It's a last lecture.
I love how the friends in the crowd went lighter.
Your bodies don't have the same mother.
So you'd like to hear about my mother?
Tell us.
My mother is a wonderful woman and an extremely impressive woman. My mother is a person I wish was more free, and I wish she allowed herself to be freer within herself. But there's still time. So I feel like this. And she's on the path. So I'm actually I'm very proud of my mother. I'm very proud of the steps that my mother is taking and the ways that she's growing. And I look forward to meeting more and more of my mother. I realize I don't know very much about her outside of her being my mom. And I think that's such a disservice to her. I think that she's a very interesting person. I try to imagine what her freedom dreams are like, but I think I also imagine this for my mother. So my mother's mother and my grandmother's grandmother, and I try to imagine what an emancipated life can be, or could be, or could have been, or will be for them and for people like them, and that's the world I want to build.
I think sometimes they ask queer kids so that they can find freedom by watching.
Character development.
It's their gift to themselves.
And I wish they could take it as such.
Don't worry, they will.
They will. And they begin to. I think with time they begin to see it.
Is there something else you like to tell us?
About her?
Yeah.
Oh, just in general. Oh, in life. Queer people, trans people, we're free. We're free. We're free. We're free. We have engineered lives where we were told that there could be none. We're living proof, even living disproof of the lies that we've been told. I think it takes a special kind of person to craft a life. And to craft a life with the materials that we've been given. Perhaps even more than that, the materials that have been taken away from us. There's a power that we have. And there's a power that walks with us, there's a power that seeks to enrich our power. It's the power of freedom, it's the power of love, it's the power of truth. And history will always bear us right. So I'd really like us to move like we are free. I'd really like us to grow like we are free and to grow, like we were saying, structures, hedges, gardens, farms. I want us to grow each other like we are each other's magnitude and bond, like we are so deeply valuable to each other and to the progress of humanity. Like we are so. Our free is to make more free, and our free makes more free. So let's be free. Sio acha uhuru ni ukombozi. Tunajikomboa, tunakomboleana. Tunakomboana. We are free. We are free. We are free. Thank you for your question. Thank you for your mind. Thank you for your arranging of things and drawing things together.
Okay, it's a nice time.
It works out just fine. If you ask me.
Bless you. Every time you work. Thank you. Thank you.
So do you like your potatoes?
Thank you. That's an excellent question. Let me tell you, potatoes, I think, just like queer people, potatoes are God's gift to us.